put yourself in those people's shoes right now. Your mom, your brother, your uncle, your sister, your dad went to Bible study. And to have a person kill them like that, you sat in Bible study and just sat there. And then, so it's not like, this was just like, oh, I just saw, 48 hours of something racist on television. I just want, you sat there with these people and they prayed. Yeah, that is so satanic. I don't even, I can't even touch that. I can't even. So I would, for me, if I was in that, yes, I would want the death penalty. I would. And that's me. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I would.
I mean,
Ms. D, we trying to keep happy and everything because, I don't know. But, there's a lot of talk about race. There's a lot of talk about everything that has been going on with the shootings in Charleston, South Carolina. And my prayers and my thoughts go out to the families of the victims. Ms. D, I've been trying, I don't think anybody can wrap their mind around it. I don't think for someone to just commit this horrible, heinous act and to go into a church and then to sit there in Bible study. The devil comes to church. Man.
That's true.
I don't know, Ms. D.
Yes, he does.
We were talking about I guess it was one of the representatives for the NRA had made a comment about the events in Charleston. And what exactly did he say?
He said that it was the pastor's fault that the members got shot because the pastor basically was for fighter gun control.
Wow.
He's basically saying if the members in the church had guns, it wouldn't have happened because that's the NRA
That's their thing.
To everything.
Yeah. That's how they feel about
guns
everything.
are never the problem, but more guns is the solution.
Mm-hmm. Ms. D, the reason why I brought that up is because, when we had the incident, with the theater, the young man going into the theater, shooting up the people, as well as I think it was at the elementary school with the guns. It seems like every other year or every year, something like this happens, and it always brings us back to the talk about gun control in the United States. And I really love what President Obama stated, when he made comments about the situation. What is going to happen with the gun control here in the United States? Are we going to constantly have to go through this every year, every other year?
I have the answer to that. You want to know what's going to happen with gun control?
What?
Nothing. It's going to be a whole debate. No one's going to do anything because the crazies have the majority in Washington. The NRA is too powerful. They're making too much money, and nothing's going to be done.
The NRA is powerful, and they stand by their rights to bear arms. But Ms. D, for people who see this incident and other incidents that have happened throughout the United States and the world, but specifically here in the U.S., and they say these are just isolated incidents. They don't see, this is something that happened, this was a massacre. But even when we get to in, other cities with the gun violence there, children dying, the different murders that are taking place with guns, it's almost like the NRA and other people just want to forget about that. And when things like this happen on a magnitude of this level, that they come out and then they start making, different comments like the one this gentleman made about the massacre that took place at this church.
The first world countries, we have the highest gun homicide rate out of the first world countries.
Yes.
The highest. I think they said 88 people died every single day from gun violence. I think it totals up to about 32,000 people a year.
Yeah. And, a lot of people are saying, this is an example of Black Lives Matter. But, there's been so much that's been going on with, trying to get, heal the country, if you will, of, the past. And it seems like, Ms. D, the racial tension in the United States with the past, police brutality, the injustice that we have seen in the courts, it's something that is just like it's festered now, and it's just like overtaken the culture now, that it's always about race. It's about race.
Because it never
we're definitely
went
not
away.
We can't. What was that again?
It never went away.
It never went away.
The only difference, no, it never went away. The only difference is because we live in the age of technology, it is in our face and you can't ignore it.
The young man has, been captured. He did have his first court appearance earlier this morning. And Ms. D, a lot of the family members had a chance to, say some things to him. And of course, he did not appear in court. It was through video or whatnot, however they did that. But Ms. D, yeah, and a lot of the family members were saying that they forgive him. They forgive him for this. They move on. They want justice served, but, I don't know, Ms. D, does it seem to you, and this is just me, this is just Dawson, our black people seem to be the most forgiving people in the whole world.
Because you know what, if black people didn't forgive what white people have done to us, it will never be peace in this country. That's true.
I agree.
There's so much stuff that has been done to us. Of course, I'm not talking about white people in our generation. I'm just talking about back in history. And
back
of course
in history, yeah.
Some racist stuff that happened now, but I'm just talking about over time.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that white people don't forgive, but in the different situations that have happened in the 21st century, I mean, some of the big things, the Trayvon Martin situation, with other things, a lot of these, the victims of these families, I forgive this man, I forgive these cops, I forgive what happened, and other races have done it too, but it just seems like for people who are African American, black, who are marginalized and somewhat, still trying to get ahead in this society and who are profiled, it seems like we still hold fast to God. We believe for a better day. We believe God is going to fix it. But Ms. D, I'm to a point now in my life, is that true? Is God going to fix it and we just sit back in churches and wait and pray? Or do we get up and take the initiative to fix it? Has God given us the power to fix it? Because I'm tired of sitting back just praying and waiting for Jesus to do something.
Okay. Until then.
What was that, Ms. D? I didn't hear you.
Our own problems. You got to realize atrocities have been happening since the beginning of time.
Mm-hmm.
And God gave us free will, and we all will have to sit in judgment in front of Him.
Correct.
You know what I mean? God doesn't make us do anything. We still have to choose to listen to that message and to follow that guidance. And that we don't keep fighting for and pushing for change. I mean, definitely never give up. But we are really dealing with something systematic here.
Systematic,
you're talking about
right.
politicians who are watching people getting killed left and right. Is watching what racism and discrimination is doing to people and dividing people. And they still refuse to do anything.
And
they're holding on to their Confederate flag.
Yes.
Flying in over state buildings, talking about it's their heritage.
Exactly, and I don't understand that because when people, I've had conversations with people about the Confederate flag, and a lot of them have said it's, this is our heritage. If I take this down, it would be like taking my heritage and my family down. This was our, and they really have a sense of pride. But for blacks in America at that time, it wasn't pride for us. I mean, people think, it goes back to that old Paula Deen thing that, back in the day, the slaves were happy. They were all dressed in white. We had those old type of picnics and, Mammy and Pappy. They were all happy. But for us, that's not a history that we look back on with pride. And Ms. D, I just, we've talked also too about, with pastors in church having, the security in church. Something like this kind of validates that statement as to why, there's security in church. They used to say all these mega churches, and not even mega. I mean, there's some semi-megas, and then some that only have maybe 200 members, but there's security at church. But when we have issues like this, people who have hate in their heart, people who are mentally ill, and people who just, may just get off, have a bad day, and then they want to take it out on everybody. This is one of the reasons why there should be armed security people in church.
it sounds like probably gonna need armed security people everywhere.
Everywhere. Here, Ms. D, I understand that. Do we blame the father for buying this his son a gun at 21 years old for his birthday?
You know, I would have more information about his family. Because, I mean, I heard that this he didn't have a job, he dropped out of school, and all of these things like that. But I believe that hate is taught.
Exactly. So, you know, I agree with what you said. I believe hate is something that's taught. But, Ms. D, I just think, you know, there were some tweets that were going around. And, you know, everybody on Twitter everywhere is talking about this. But I think, you know, I heard the judge who, you know, went over the stuff with the victims' families as well as the young man here. And the judge was saying that, you know, not only are you all victims, but this young man's family is victims, and we're just going to, you know, handle it accordingly. And that's what the law is supposed to do. But, Ms. D, maybe this is me. I just think when it comes to white victims, they try to humanize them more than they do black victims in the media.
They're arresting him without incident. But a black girl at the pool party got her head shoved into the ground.
Exactly.
All right. You know, disrespectful teenagers are somehow more dangerous than a maniac that just walked up into a church and just mass massacred people.
Exactly.
But they were able to apprehend him with no problem.
I know, and I think, you know, a lot of times, you know, they try to humanize, you know, victims who are of a different color than they do black victims.
They are. And while black kids are
thugs, gangbangers, prostitutes, she dropped out of school, she was a whore.
Drug users.
Exactly.
You know, let's investigate their criminal record and see what type of criminal record.
Exactly.
You know, that's the one thing that made me upset about the Trayvon Martin trial. They put Trayvon Martin on trial.
Of course, of course.
The victim.
Of course. And to me, when they humanize them, they can blame it on, you know, he had a dysfunctional family. His mom never let him go to summer camp. He never got chocolate chip cookies.
You know you're going to hear he was mentally ill.
Of course, of course. We know that racism and hate has not left the United States. And I'm pretty much a person who's always optimistic, but I really don't see that, you know, going away anytime soon. I do believe hate is taught, but I continue to pray and to hope that when we have, you know, situations like this, that, you know, the people who are brought to the courts and taken to task, that, you know, the book is thrown at them on all levels, all races, whoever do stuff like this. It's not just white people, black, Hispanic, Asian, whoever. I just hope that, you know, justice is served. But in our case, justice has not been that fair to us. So, you know, trying to be optimistic here.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think he should get the death penalty?
Put yourself in those people's shoes right now. Your mom, your brother, your uncle, your sister, your dad went to Bible study. And to have a person kill them like that, you sat in Bible study and just sat there. And then, so it's not like, you know, this was just like, oh, you know, I just saw, you know, 48 hours or something racist on television. I just want, you know, you sat there with these people and they prayed. Yeah, that is so satanic. I don't even, I can't even touch that. I can't even. So I would, for me, if I was in that, yes, I would want the death penalty. I would.
I think he definitely deserves the death penalty. But sometimes some people do stuff that is so heinous that I think death is just too easy for him.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer him to sit in a small 6x6 cell, isolated for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm. We've been going for a minute. What was the last thing what do we do going forward with this?
I have no answer because, as I said earlier, I don't believe anything is going to be done.
Wow. At this time?
I mean, I believe he's going to be found guilty, but, like, you know, addressing the gun issue, the violence in this country in general, regardless of race, I don't think anything's going to be done. We read the stories every day. We see it every day.
Every day.
Nothing has been done.
Nothing has been done. Nothing has been done. You're absolutely correct. And like I stated before, our prayers go out to the victims' families.